So here's the capacitors that came in the Firefly. I mean, they're nice, they're pretty, right? And big and yellow. They say 630 volts on them. And, you know, there's hardly 10 millivolts in a guitar. And so here's my 33. It's a tiny little thing in comparison, right? It's like 10 volts. So 10 volts to 10 millivolts in a guitar is plenty enough size of capacitor, and it doesn't have to be a Sprague orange drop that's the size of my thumb or anything like that. It just needs to be a capacitor that has a value that you want, like 33, 22, 47, and you know, the green chiclets are usually the standard size because they're easy to work with. But I mean, you don't even need those chiclets that size. They don't have to be any bigger than this to work. Here we are at bench number 1. So the update is I've got the electrics in. And rewired the way I like it. Leaving the cover off for now just to be sure. The knobbies are back on the front. Oh, the new Wilkinson tuners are up. Yeah, I had these 3x3s in my stash that look just like the originals that came on it, except that posts are not wiggly like that. This is what causes the slop in the tuning when you're trying to get them to go. It takes a bit of a turn to recatch when you switch directions because of the wobble between the two gears. All right, it's been polished. So I cleaned up the nut. I sanded it down to take off the dirt and crap that looked, from on top. I'm going to leave it there for now. I also cut the back angle down a little bit deeper. It didn't seem to have enough of a back angle on it, and that'll help it go down towards the strings a bit more as well. I didn't overdo it, I just gave it a touch. So that's ready. So the next thing is to put these brand new D'Addario strings on it. I did not do fret leveling. After I did the polishing with my Dremel, I came back and I tried it with some 4x0 steel wool and my shield, and it turns out that the Dremel did take off enough of the grime that the steel wool did not add any additional benefit. The steel wool makes a big difference if you're actually doing the leveling the way I do it, and then the recrowning with the sandpapers back and forth. The grain on the frets are going this way because of the sandpaper, and then the steel wool switches that, takes that off, smooths it off, and changes it, makes them shiny going the other way. So that sets it up for your strings. In this case, I didn't do any. There was a few frets that were a tiny bit high, and I tapped on them with my little hammer and my little wood block until they recessed enough that they're either going to stay in or they're going to come back out, but they're down, and they were level when I checked them. That was yesterday. One of them was here, still rocking a bit. So it did come back up, but it's over here on the on the low E string, and it's possible that it could cause buzzing. Darn. I was hoping to be able to put strings on. So a lot of these ends are still up after I banged them down, they came back up. Now that's what I wanted to check, because sometimes the banging works right away, but later, you know, it just comes back out. Because you're forcing it in to the wood, which you know, has its tension, and it'll squeeze it back up. The difference between the metal and the wood being softer, it'll squeeze it back up. Darn, eh? Okay, so I've touched up a couple of these ends just with the file and some steel wool, and now we've just got to get some strings on it and get that next part going. Okay guys, full disclosure, while we were off camera, I went to my belt sander and I worked on this bridge. 320 new belt. I took material off the bottom of the treble side to try to get down to the 3/64 level that I'm trying to find here on my setup. I took a little bit extra also off of the low end strings. I had a little bit of space there, but taking the chrome off and a tiny bit of material, there's still a bit of copper on there, so I didn't take that much. I took a little bit more off the other side, nice and smooth and flat, and hopefully that's going to give me somewhere closer to the 3/64, even if it's all the way down. Man, keeping fingerprints off it, and I just washed my hands with Dawn detergent, dishwashing detergent, which usually is a good grease fighter, but everything you touch. Okay, so that's shined up. I've got the strings out and ready to go. I see these two are reversed. Put the heads the other way. So I'm going to get the strings on and do some stretching and some initial tuning, and I'll get right back to you. And here we are at the end again. So there you go. The action is 4 on the high side and 4 on the low side. Even taking meat off of the bottom of this bridge, I still only got 4. I probably didn't take enough, just below the chrome a bit. Anywho, it works. Clear pickguard, beautiful, you can see right through. Clear knobs, nice match, huh? Yeah. The back was as it was when it came in, except, you know, compounded and polished. The fretboard oiled. It's a little bit nicer now. It's rosewood. It's very porous, and what I noticed is that once I put the oil on there and wiped it up overnight and into this morning, when I would put my hand on it, it would warm it up and would make the oil bleed out. So I had to air dry that with my compressor and get all of the oil that's left in the little pores that would only come out with my hand. I didn't want that to happen on my strings. So anyway, that's good. These are the easy lock tuners that they call with the 2 holes in the posts. I usually don't use them over here, and I usually don't use them down there either, but today I did use it here, where I put it through the top hole, wrap it halfway around the pole, back through the other one, then up and under to do the luthier's knot, so it's a double lock on these ones for slipping. These they have a tendency to be more slippy, the thinner strings. Lubricated the slots here, cleaned up the nut. It's not as dirty looking as it was. It's nicer. The binding was good. Yeah, I changed the wiring, as you know, so we are ready. We are ready. This is just plain, just the 65 Deluxe, no effects bridge. James pickups from Texas. Now why Leo changed these out of the Leo James guitar and put in Pro-Buckers, I don't know. These sound a lot like Pro-Buckers to me. Neck. Middle. Good output. It's pushing the amp without any additional boost. Here's what it is with my boost pedal. No additional EQ. Compressor. It likes to go. Vintage overdrive, about number 2 or so. This is for those people that ask me about dirt all the time. And I even hooked up the extra one, the Joyo US Dream distortion pedal. I rarely ever find use for that. That's at about, that's at the, about, let's see, that would be nothing, or 1, 2, 3, 4, that was about 4. Woo! That thing hurts my ears. And then there was this. of the compressor. So, it plays, probably better than I do, but it plays. And I was thinking, you know, this color looks awfully familiar to me. Turns out, I think I have a Harley Benton, pretty much the same color. Stand by, let me go get it. Look at that. Pretty close. Dark metallic pink, plum. Harley Benton, just a shade lighter. Really, really close. I was thinking that looks awfully familiar. Anywho, that's the end of this video on the Firefly Leo James Hybrid. Thanks much for watching. Appreciate all your support. Catch us in the next one.